Say his name and he'll appear. I believe in Coale, baby. Woo! That's how we get him back, baby. Look at it. Kel Dansby here. Not with the old man Andreas Hale, with the one and only producer, Coale, baby.
I got the Joe Hendry entrance.
Yes.
I am so happy right now. Because, let
Just
me tell
for
you,
you,
if there's
Coale,
one thing that
just
I
for
believe
you.
in, if there's one thing I believe in, I do believe in Joe Hendry all the time. From London, Tokyo, Mexico, wherever else. Dude, that also his video for that is fucking outstanding. And he pulls out the
Incredible.
guitar, he starts soloing. Oh,
It's number one on iTunes.
I mean, that
It's
guy
that good.
is, let me tell you, that's if Impact, if no matter what's going on over there, or TNA, I should say, no matter what's going on, and they got a lot of good stuff going. I mean, Broken Matt Hardy's back, but Joe Hendry is eternal.
Man.
Actually, give me Joe Hendry versus Broken Matt Hardy. I want to see those promos. I want to see.
I didn't even think of this.
I want to see. I believe in the Broken Universe match.
I believe in deletion. Delete,
oh my God.
delete. Instead of clapping.
And it's just like, it's literally going to be a wrestling musical. That's what it's going to be.
Yes.
I know there is already like a wrestling musical out there, but like this is a wrestling musical.
Hey, I need this tomorrow.
Hey, TNA, we're again like
we've done it again.
Look, when producer Coale Bay and the human hot take machine Kel Dansby get on this podcast, we manifest the strangest, the weirdest, and the best.
Yep.
Shit to life. And Joe Hendry versus Broken Matt Hardy. Give it to me now.
It took 2 minutes, Coale. We've done it again. It took 2 minutes.
Again, match of the year.
Easy.
Angle of the year. Storyline of the year.
Danielson. Get out of here.
You Danielson Ospreay? You can take your Danielson Ospreay.
Yeah. You guys want 5-star matches?
AEW championship as AEW champion? Go ahead, take it. Cody finishing the story. Amateur hour.
Yep. I'm going full Big E. You guys want your 5-star matches? Not me.
Not me.
I want to see 2 singing men sing delete. Singing men, singing delete. That's what I want.
Joe Hendry with on the mower of lawns, going
God.
after Broken Matt. At the Hardy compound. At the Hardy compound.
Oh my God, Hendry! I knew you'd come after clapping.
I knew you'd come. The Return of Vanguard 1 has to show up for that.
It's so money.
Is there any wrestling to talk about? There's definitely no other wrestling.
No, I could just fantasy book this whole thing the entire time.
All right, make sure you follow Patreon, follow everything. Corner podcast.
This is the first time we ever led with TNA. So worth it. So worth it.
I mean, you set the tone with a Joe Hendry entrance. I mean, massive giant pop.
Oh, for everyone listening, Coale was just there, and I was like, "Yo, Coale." I didn't tell Coale anything. It's like, you just got to turn off your camera. When you hear me clap, just turn it off. And he was like, what? Like, should I press him? When you hear me clap, turn on the camera. He was just like, okay.
I knew, and the second the song started, the biggest shit-eating grin just came across my face. And I was like, I am so ready.
You'd be embarrassed how much I laughed and popped myself when I thought of it today. Like, I was in the sauna laughing like an idiot, just reciting "I believe in Coale, baby" in my mind. So
I believe in
Coale, baby,
baby.
The people, when they see you, Coale, the next time that they see you, that's everyone's going to be chanting.
The next thing I need to do is just on the video format so that everyone sees it, is that I'm able to do the turnaround move.
Yeah,
like the real flip the head around kind of move.
Coale, you own a guitar, non-ironically. Like, it may come to the point of, if like we bring you to Survivor Series or SummerSlam with us, you have to bring the guitar from Austin with you.
Yeah.
And you have to do like a live performance of it. I believe in Coale, baby.
I believe in Coale, baby.
And then the full guitar breakdown. You'll learn that in 2 days. Yeah.
Great. Oh my gosh. Amazing. So anyways, wrestling, what else is happening?
Nothing more important than that. Nothing as good as what we just talked about. Everyone listening, we appreciate you. This is going to be a disappointment from here on out.
We peaked.
This is the highlight of it. No, outside of that, we have to talk AEW because we haven't talked since Dynasty about AEW. We gotta talk about the WWE draft. Is it really important? And then we'll preview Backlash, which is in Paris this weekend.
Barry.
Yes. Do you have a good
Oui.
French accent? I know you can do French Canadian, but do you have a
I
regular
can do
French accent?
French Canadian, but I can't really do, I can't go full on French.
Yeah.
I got oui oui, and that's about it.
Sorry, Cole. We'll add that to your bag of accents
No,
sooner or
I
later.
guess so. Yeah,
Yep.
we're gonna have to work on that. That one's still in the workshop.
We'll get there. Now, starting off then, AEW. It's been a couple of weeks. I haven't talked to you about it.
Yeah.
Danielson versus Osprey. Is it the 8-star match that everyone's giving it? Like, what were your feelings? Initially, I did think it was one of the better matches I've seen. Um, to go, I think it's 5-star match. To go higher than that, it still sounds stupid. And Dre always says I have WWE brain, but it kind of has to matter a little bit within the storyline, and not just for WWE sense. It's just I struggle to put it above Okada Omega, and Omega Osprey because those were in line in a story, and Osprey Omega is kind of the passing of the torch in New Japan from this guy to that guy, and Omega passed, and Osprey was that dude for I guess a year and a half before he took off, and Okada is that guy over there, and
Yeah.
Omega could never get over on him, and he could have hit the one winged angel to save his life. I think he hit it in the third match, and Okada's like foot was on the rope, and everyone's like fuck. And then when he finally gets in the fourth match, like the storytelling was perfect. So the story matters, and I can't put it above those two matches. And I guess even Brett versus Austin, probably that and Sean Taker, two best
Sure.
wrestling WWE matches ever. Those had better stories, so I can't put it over those. But it's like right underneath those in
Yeah,
terms of solid 5-star match.
I would agree with you. I mean, and I think with, in particular with Osprey matches, and especially because pretty much it's just like Osprey versus,
Yeah,
and you go like, who, and like you're gonna get something really good. So I think for me, like I try not to get too lost in like which one is better than the other, because it just, otherwise then you stop enjoying what like the whole like aura is of an
yeah,
Osprey match, and just like what he's able to do with any kind of performer he's in with. And that said, I do agree with you. I think what they were able to tell in between the lines as far as the story is concerned there, and in the match, and then towards the end, and like Brian basically just like pushing his body past its limit
yeah,
for that, like they did a good job of being able to create the storyline within the match itself, which is ultimately what Osprey's really good at, like, is being able to create that tension of, who is going to win within any kind of given match. So, but I would still agree with you. I think, yeah, any kind of match of like that magnitude, of when we're going like, when we're talking the annals of like the most important matches in just wrestling history, and the best matches in wrestling history. And when those two go hand in hand, that is when you get Okada Omega, when you get Omega Osprey, because there is a little bit more juice. There's a little bit more meat on that bone, right?
yeah,
Like there is like an overarching arc that the match is resolving. Whereas this one is like, it's almost like when you have a favorite band, they've made a bunch of great albums years before, and now they're on their greatest hits tour. This felt like a greatest hits kind of match, which is not that is not a slight at all. It's like you're going to see because you want to see them play those songs.
yeah,
So like when Osprey comes to AEW, everyone wants to see get Danielson and Osprey in there, which is like they're able to live off this for the next year. Like Osprey doesn't necessarily need to be in title picture, even though he's got one coming up and it's going to be sick. It doesn't have to necessarily be like Osprey needs a belt and needs a storyline surrounding him right now. Like he could play greatest hits right now because
yeah.
there's just so much talent on that roster that he can go through, and everyone's gonna be like, man, like that match is gonna be awesome. It's like, when does he start dealing with House of Black and all those guys? It's like, whoa, like there's a whole bunch of matches you could pull out there. So, um, so yeah, I would agree with you. I think it was still an incredible match. I'm glad we got it. We're
Yeah.
we're all like, we can all say, yeah, like, yay, we have video evidence of seeing that. It's been manifested. It's not something we ever have to go, oh man, if
What
only.
if? Yeah.
And
No,
that really in and of itself is worth the price of admission.
with the other guys though, and you mentioned it with a House of Black, with Kenny Omega running it back.
Yeah,
There's obviously Okada. We've kind of seen those, but people like Adam Cole,
sure.
right? Where it's just when Cole gets healthy and all this stuff. There's a lot of dream matches in there. Even him, him versus Adam Copeland or like Edge or
Yeah,
like something like that. Like
yeah,
there's a lot of like dream matches available in there. Just put some story behind it. Like
sure.
it's okay to play the hits. It's okay to, be Metallica and just fucking jam
Yeah,
on your guitar. But Metallica, when they have to say some shit and when they really want to sing and slow it down, they can.
right.
Like I need to, as good as Osprey is, and he's phenomenal, he can be Will Osprey wherever he goes.
Sure.
I need to see AEW say, I can make Will Osprey better and I can challenge him and do stuff that no other company did with Will Osprey. And that is the key. It's cool to get a shiny new toy and be like, oh, it's a toy, and just take it out of the box and this is what it is. But what can you do with it that
Yeah,
no one else could do? That's what we, at this core, that's why people tune into AEW. Because now we just watch all the independent shit. This could have been done
yeah,
anywhere. You're supposed to be the independent with the WWE budget. You're
yeah,
supposed to make these guys larger than life. You're supposed to give them a theme song that's super catchy and make them, on TMZ and all this. Like they have to feel grand. They have to feel big. You have to have storylines that last a decade because all his matches are going to last a decade. But why? You have to be able to tell people why they should care.
yeah.
And I just want to see that. Right now, he's still Will Ospreay, bruv. Like
Sure.
he's the same guy New Japan gave you or you took, whichever way you want to put it. What can you do with that? What can you build on top of that? How are you going to make Will Ospreay better? Because he's already come to you and he's a 20 out of 10.
Right.
So you can just say, well, we have a 20 out of 10, or, to the detriment of WWE sometimes, but sometimes they strike gold. It's you get a 20 out of 10 and you'd be like, fuck it, we can turn them into 50 out of 10. That's what AEW has to do. And that's what I'm looking for. That's the
Yeah.
only thing that
Yeah,
I'm hoping for him.
I think we will get that at some point. I think based off of the timing in which he's kind of come in, I think it's to their service to still kind of play this he's Will Ospreay role right now, because they were still working through the Swerve angle, and having Dynasty, it was Swerve's night,
Yeah,
you know, and you want to make sure that that belt is still like
of
your
course.
primo championship, and that's your primo storyline. So I think with the timing of Osprey coming in, again, he's only been here a few months, and the fact that they wanted to pull that trigger on a Danielson match right now is very much just kind of like, here's more of like your showcase, in case some of this audience may have not seen him. You can always pull that card again down the road and give it some more storyline beef, and then we go like, oh, we've seen these guys go one
Yeah.
on one, but now there's a whole arc that's kind of constructed alongside that, where maybe Osprey's going for a title, or maybe it's a career, thing for Daniels. I don't know, so
But you mentioned Swerve.
yeah,
It Dynasty was his night, but people talk more about Osprey and Danielson. All right. Then you have the opportunity on Dynamite to parade your new champion out, and he doesn't lead the show. In fact, he just has a random match because the story of Dynamite is the EVPs
right.
and Okada versus the boss, which is going to be like a Civil War angle, I guess,
Hmm.
which we kind of have that in WWE building. And we'll talk about that when we get there. But they're doing it a little more organically. So a longer
Yes.
storyline to where this feels like, and I told Dre this, I think just in a group chat, because I don't think we talked on the show since then. But this just feels like WCW NWO, where you have, to me, it's as close as you can get in recreating that. You have two guys who say, well, we don't like how the system's going. This time it's the EVPs. Before it was Hall and Nash. Then you bring in a guy and everyone's like, oh my God, he's gonna, help against the EVPs. This is someone who's never gonna be a heel. Okada, which he was in New Japan, but he hasn't been a heel in like 6 years in New Japan.
Right.
And then it was like, oh my God, he's coming to beat up the EVPs. Boom, turns, joins them. Oh, that's very Hollywood Hulk Hogan-ish.
Yep.
And then
you can almost copy paste it with Jack Perry.
Yep. And then next thing you know, Jack Perry comes back, and then you get the anti-establishment. You're adding members like the NWO did before they went off the rails. But like, not to call Jack Perry or diminish what he is, because he has a good storyline coming into this. But size build for comparison's sake, he's, I don't know, X-Pac in this. Which was that, 6? What was X-Pac's name in NWO? 6.
Oh gosh,
Yeah,
whatever. It was Xbox.
Some shit like that. But he was Xbox. He's been Xbox his whole life. He went from 1, 2, 3 kid to Xbox. He never go back. So they brought him in, and like that's cool. Like that as a group, NWO was pretty all right. And then shit went off the rails. They kept adding people, which very well may happen here. And then it comes down to like, well, yeah, of course, Tony Khan is Eric Bischoff in this, and you're playing the same hits. And it's, oh my God, you guys aren't running the company correctly. And then people from the company have to come and defend it. And I was like, all right, I guess. So you make Swerve, Sting, Diamond Dallas Page. Like, I don't fucking know. But like you're getting to like a line of demarcation where you're legit just running a WCW story arc, which is okay, right? Because it's kind of outside of the title picture for right now. But completely buried the champion on night one because you devoted so much time towards that. You had a random match. They're like, well, we wanted him to talk at Collision because we have an NBA lead in. It's like, you could have him cut a backstage promo. You could have him do anything to open up.
Sure.
Just hop out of a Suburban with the belt looking big time, grill in, and it'd be like, so what's your first thing as champion? I don't talk. I fight. And just walk in, and then now he has a match.
Sure.
Like there's subtle shit to make him feel big, like he's opening the show. Instead, you're like, yeah, he's our champion, but see him on Saturday. Nobody watches on Saturday. Yeah, you popped your biggest rating because of NBA, but it's just like,
well, there you go. I mean, that's TV logic. That's not, it's not IWC logic. So there's going to be people who don't quite understand what's going on there, but that's TV logic. You lead in. It's the same thing they do with whoever's hosting, whichever network has the Super Bowl on.
Yeah,
they're always debuting a new show right after the Super Bowl or a season premiere of something, so that they get their biggest rating ever.
Completely boosted Friends to the moon. Friends wouldn't be Friends without that philosophy.
Yeah,
and I get it, but it's one of those things where it's like, yo, just show the guy as the number one guy. He came in on Wednesday and was like, he's just having a match.
Sure, yeah.
Or keep him off TV. Don't even put him on Wednesday. And then have him show up for the first time on Saturday. Like, it was completely mishandled to me. And it's not just because Swerve with my ass Madden earlier. It's like legit, like, what are you doing? Because sometimes the talent is working despite the machine. And Tony's so singularly focused. And now I don't mind him being on television. I'm not one of like those people. Authority figures pop up everywhere. Stephanie fucking McMahon opened night 2 of WrestleMania. Like, that didn't bother me. Triple H opens.
We'll get to Tony being on screen.
Yeah, like Triple H opens stuff.
There's a conversation to be had.
Some people it bothers. For me, it doesn't bother me.
Doesn't bother me either.
Papa Khan coming out. That was funny. Like, that's cool. And that angle doesn't bother me, but don't, cut off your nose to spite your face. Your champion should still be the focal point. And that's not, I'm not sure, and I'll let you touch on it. We'll get into, I'm not sure the Mercedes shit is working.
No, it's not.
It's going very towards the way of when Paige jumped ship. And it was like, oh my God, they signed Paige. and it was like cool. And we had her in studio, and everything looked like it. And she's been a complete afterthought for 3 years in AEW. And it was like Saraya, and then they booked her in that mid card title role. It fell flat, and it just never picked back up. It's going in that direction where she's like, "Oh my God, please turn the heel, do something." Like it's
Yeah.
gotten bad quick, and Tony needs to figure out how to book multiple storylines well because he's really good at booking singular storylines at a time fairly well.
Yeah, I think to all that point, I think as far as starting with Mercedes, I think we're running into actually Soraya is a great comparison because I mean Soraya different injury circumstances, right?
Sure,
It was circumstances of like
may never
her
wrestle again.
may never wrestle again and kind of easing her back into that kind of thing, right? We're
Sure,
running into a similar situation here where clearly it's got to be a case where Mercedes is not cleared, right? Is not cleared yet to wrestle. So the timing has totally sucked
yeah,
for everything to be happening here, right? They clearly had a date in mind and a place in mind to have her debut come out. And I gotta imagine that they were probably both parties were hoping she'd be ready sooner
yeah,
at this point. So you're kind of stuck with what you got, right? Because what she needs to be doing is wrestling. She can't wrestle. So you have to wait until she's able to. I would assume that come double or nothing, she's ready to go and she's gonna fight Willow.
sure.
Um,
But then you're doing a lot of shit like that was completely unnecessary.
you've just had 2 or 3 months here where you've just kind of like made her an after. You've lost that kind of opening buzz, right? Where
They
again, like
overexposed her.
we talk about we talk about Osprey, right? And like Osprey came right in and bam, we're off of the races, right? We're doing Osprey shit. It's like imagine if like Osprey was just doing bruv promos for
Week
three
in,
months
week out. Yeah.
without wrestling. We'd all be like, why'd you sign Osprey? Like, what are you doing? So it is it is right now, like as far as Mercedes goes, it is like a bit victim of circumstance here, where I'm willing to go, let me see where this goes once she starts wrestling and once we start actually having character
She's
movement.
she's
It's
gonna
not
be a
gonna
good wrestler.
she's going to be playing from behind, right? She's been put in a hole here. She can dig herself out of it, right? Whereas Soraya had a more of a situation where like that was such a dangerous thing for her to be doing.
Yeah.
Like you might be rolling the dice every time you throw her out there, you know. So we'll see what kind of happens there.
With
But I agree with you.
yeah.
It sucks. Like
They
it
could have
hasn't
just
been
let her
it
do the
hasn't
Jay
benefited.
Cargill, like where she
Yeah,
just shows up at the arena and like you
yeah,
show her just getting out of a car once. You saw her again just sitting in the crowd during these matches, and it's just like ominous, just real quick.
yeah,
Look cute, look good, watch your opponent. You could have did that shit for 6 weeks straight.
yeah.
Like,
Because
don't
again,
even cut a promo.
her doing babyface promos has never been her strong suit.
Zero,
It's
zero. If
never
they
been her
let her cut a
wheelhouse.
promo, it is because she is a heel. She went to
Right,
Japan, she was a heel.
right,
Like when she talks, the gimmick is entitled Valley Girl-esque. She's the
right,
boss. Like she is a Nepo baby for all purposes in character,
right.
right? Like it is what it is. She is to be disliked. It it never works in WWE either. They
Yeah,
try, but it's just like how long until she's going to turn on Bailey? How long until she like the countdown always begins, much like Seth Rollins, where it's
yeah,
just like they are just better at speaking when they can be assholes.
right.
And right now, the stupid oh my god I got jumped and the lights cut off and
Mm.
it was a bunch of dumb shit. But again, the Swerve stuff so far isn't much better, but he's the champion, so we know what the hell Swerve's about.
Yeah, yeah. Although I will say, them giving him Christian Cage here to start, I think, is going to be some juicy stuff leading up to Double or Nothing because we're all the family shit that was happening in the Hangman Page feud, it's all coming right back out. Like Cage is going to be ruthless. Like those promos he's about to cut are going to be ruthless, and Swerve's going to be ruthless back. It's going to be great. So But I think on the topic of Tony being on TV and people being annoyed with that or anything like that, I think Tony's always been of the stance it has to make sense for him to be on TV in an angle. Like it's if I'm gonna pull the trigger on doing something, it has to make sense. This to me makes sense. Like it makes sense for him to be playing the role that he's playing. I think, and especially like he's already kind of garnered this character of lovey dovey. I'm friends with everyone. I hug people. Like that needs to blow up in his face a little bit, right? Isn't that what everyone has wanted anyways? Isn't that what is there no pleasing you people out there on the internet? Don't you all want to see Tony take a fucking Meltzer driver? Come on. So like the thing
Kinda.
is they
Do
had,
not skip over the first bump that he took, though.
oh, it was awful.
The
It was
punch to the
awful.
stomach, getting knocked out, and then remembering, wait, no, he hit me in the gut.
I
Is
ain't saying anything
hilarious.
about how good Tony is as a performer in the ring. I ain't saying, and anyone who's going like
Vincent
Tony should be in the
Kennedy
match.
McMahon was not the
No,
greatest
no.
either.
Yeah, we just watched Vince take a stunner. Like we, like that's not his wheelhouse. Tony is that awkward kid that's fanboying in the ring right now.
Yeah.
Just let him be. Guess what? Half y'all wouldn't do much better either. So
I tell you this much: if you put me in a ring, I'm at least telling him go all out. Like
yeah,
you're not just gonna
sell
Jack
that shit like the
Perry.
Rock sell the
Oh,
stunner. Like
Jack
flip.
Perry, you're not just gonna hit me with one punch in the stomach. You better fucking give me a clothesline from hell. You better, oh Tony, and then the handshake, don't let it go, and then just like I don't care if I know I'll take a bump or not. Concussed me.
Yeah.
Like, and then the Meltzer driver was like, that's what I'm talking about, Tony.
Yeah, that's
If you're gonna do it, do it.
and he took that shit great. So
Oh, that's great. That's just banned in the WWE. Sticking that moves move on a
Right.
Wednesday.
So yeah, so and I tell you, it's been a total 180 because I think they turned what could have been in what I'm sure many people on the internet were all calling the death nail for AEW when they showed the footage of the CM Punk thing. They flipped that around into a positive. They absolutely did. When they first did it, I of course looked at it and went like, what is this? What is like this just looks like an attention grabbing classic Tony Khan as an announcement bull crap.
Yeah.
But they flipped it around and turned it into character work for Jack Perry. And now Jack is in a perfect role for him as a heel, but he's also the heel that can kind of like get the shit kicked out of him. And people will want to see that.
Well, because he really got the shit kicked out of him and people saw it.
Right.
Man got choked to the video.
But the thing is like it allows you to protect the Young Bucks. It allows you to protect Okada and make them seem larger than life. And they can just send Jack to do all their dirty work, and Jack can take all the bumps. It's perfect.
Poor Jack. Just gotta bury Jack. Jack is the lackey.
No, I'm not saying bury Jack because he can take that moment. It's allowing him to do stuff, which before we talked about it before, his heat checks weren't doing anything. Right?
No, but the not getting pinned every week, Jack Perry in New Japan, before they brought him back, when they figured out like, oh, he showed the video. Oh, Jack leaned into this on his own. Oh, we need to capitalize off of this because Jack is hot right now. It's another one. Again, coincidences happen. WWE has benefited greatly off of coincidence. Tony saw and said, I'm gonna release this video because I'm petty. Oh shit, it didn't go the way I thought it was gonna go. But Jack Perry came out with the jacket and everything. And Jack Perry was like, he just ripped up the contract. I don't fucking care about what they're doing. I'm here. They're allowing me to wrestle here. I'm a badass. I'm going to lean into it. And they were like, I like that now. Right. Come back home, Jack. Like there's no way if he doesn't lean into it and he just goes quiet or is just a normal guy, do they invite him back in and he's part of this angle? No way. But they saw like, this guy did it on his own. I kind of like the character change. Come in. And they run into that a lot. If you can build it there by yourself, you are fine.
Yeah.
If they have to build something for you, you're kind of shit out of luck.
You have like a 1 in 10 chance, like that one might hit.
Yeah.
Right?
But that shit could flame out because you ain't getting a 2.
You might end up doing time with Tony Storm, or you might end up doing 9 out of 10 things that totally just bursts.
The acclaimed hit. That shit ain't hitting today. Right? Like There's
Not necessarily to the fever pitch that it was.
no, like they just need a part two. Like it hit. All right, give us a part two. No, because we didn't give you part one. Figure out part two. Stay hot. And they just don't have the machine built to make people and reinvent people internally. You have to do it on the outside. There's no measure. Like Jericho's trying to do it again for himself, and this shit's falling flat. Like I see Jericho and Big Bill on my TV. Get the fuck out of here. Like I already muted, but like, and if I did have 5 televisions, I would change it. But I'd 100% just be like, I'm gonna pay attention to Madden right now, or like, oh, let me play some MLB The Show when they're on, and then I'll come back. But it's it has to get to the point of you have to help the characters who can't help themselves. Jack Perry helped himself. They reinserted him. Looks great. He's in the biggest storyline right now in the company, whether it's NWO storyline or not. But it has to.
And hey, guess what? Here's the deal. If people are like complaining about that and being able to point at the NWO story, how long ago was that?
That's like 30 years. You can redo it.
I
It's
think
30
we can
years.
run it back. I think we can run it back, right?
Yeah.
Like, if anyone is like complaining about that aspect of it, like, let someone else do a different spin on it.
Yeah.
Like,
Then you don't like music because everything is being run back right now.
just
Everything's
like,
sampled from somewhere.
like it's okay to take angles from the past and apply them to your current angle. You
Are
can
you
do that.
are
It is
you
allowed.
defending Tony Khan or Shawn Michaels here? Because
Both.
NXT's running the hits.
Both. And guess what?
NXT is playing the hits.
And here's the deal. What's everyone saying about NXT? Oh, it's
It's
way
back.
better.
It's worked. Yeah.
So like
him and
you can't
Mello
tell me-
ran the same
you can't
storyline.
tell me you love NXT for doing that shit and running Shawn Michaels' greatest hits,
Yes.
and then tell me you're not gonna like the NWO shit that AEW is. Otherwise, you're cutting the line of tribalism.
Yeah.
That's fine if you want to do that. That's your reasoning. Just
Hate them
tell
both
me,
equally.
Just tell me that you don't like AEW, and that's fine. Okay, then I get what kind of fan you are. You're not a fan of wrestling like we are, so I don't need to validate your opinion. That's fine. Like, it's cool.
I just
Like,
want to see them elevate their champ. Like
yeah, sure.
It was a shitty start, but
Sure.
outside, like Swerve's not going to be bad. Like Christian Cage is
No.
damn sure not going to be bad.
That
program's going to be
that match will rip. Like, that match will be
Yeah,
great.
I don't give a fuck about the match. I just like the
main
build.
evented it. Yeah, main evented a Double or Nothing. It'll be great. Because I mean, this is also a weird, tricky time too, because they always have Blood and Guts like right after Double or Nothing.
Yeah.
So there's always kind of like a half build for that. Like even last year was Anarchy in the Arena was before Blood and Guts, right?
Yep.
Like actually the last 2 years,
Yep.
the Anarchy match was the Blood and Guts match, right? So they could be doing something very similar here where there could be an Anarchy match.
It's going to be the
I'm sure-
EVPs, 100%.
I'm sure it'll be different. The Executive Suite match. I don't know. It'll be something.
But it's
There'll
going
be
to be
something
Anarchy in Arena.
Right.
And yeah, those 4 are going to go against maybe a cleared Kenny Omega. I don't know. He took a bump. But if not, it looks like Hangman comes to his defense and maybe FTR.
I would love to see somehow, some way, just like throw the, like, I know we'll eventually get Omega Okada again, obviously. Like, you would be stupid not to do it.
Yeah. Printing money.
You're just free money. Like, and I'm sure they're probably building towards that for All In, I would assume.
Yep.
I mean, I would love to stick though Okada, Omega, and the Young Bucks in a ring together, make it a fatal 4-way or something. I don't know. I just want to see that. That just to me seems like there could be all kinds of zany shenanigans. People like strangest people turning on strangest people. Could be kind of fun. But
whatever happened to Ibushi? I haven't seen Coda in like forever. Did he get hurt?
I want to say Coda got hurt. In one of the matches, but I would also, be like, where is Kota Ibushi? Because he is technically all elite, but
he is. But then just kind of disappeared.
Here's the deal, though: when Kenny Omega comes back, Kota Ibushi's not far behind.
If he needs backup, if you start beef with there,
you'll get insta pop the second Golden Lover, like the second insta pop, like It's just like anytime Kenny Omega's around, if Kota Ibushi shows back up, everyone just, oh yeah, like it's great. Perfect.
Yeah. And so outside of that, I think AEW is doing like perfectly fine in other
Yeah.
angles. Mercedes, a
Not
little
wait,
shitty.
so you're saying it's not a complete disaster, the company is going under.
Nah, no. Just
Because
for
that
me.
that was that
Um,
was the talk like a month ago.
because ratings suck. But ratings suck for a lot of people right now. Like
It's
it's
also like it's
television
and
ratings are not the end all be all anymore.
it
They're
shouldn't
just
be.
not.
And you have NBA playoffs, you have NHL playoffs, you got a lot going on. Like, get me to the summer months when, with all due respect to, you know, our teams in baseball, like when baseball is on and that's the only sport that's on, your ratings are going to be much better
Yeah.
because baseball's not as interesting a sport.
No.
So
And then they build and their major two pay-per-views are like the week before the NFL kicks off. So it's perfect. Like you
right,
have the whole summer build by your damn self and then cap it off and then people get football fever.
right,
So it's one of those things where it's like, no, you guys got that time. WWE the same way. We get a stretch between Money in the Bank and SummerSlam, which are like back to back now, I think. And
yeah,
Clash at the Castle. There's a lot of shit going on in there. I
right,
think we have King of the Ring, King and Queen of the Ring. Is that in
yep.
Saudi coming up?
I think that is a Saudi event. Yep.
Yeah, got like four premium live events in like 6 weeks.
Right.
So everyone's hitting their stride. It's all right. The summer months are going to be good. AEW is going to be fine. Fix this Mercedes shit,
Yeah.
please. Fix Tony Storm in ring, which I give zero fucks about. The gimmick's still gold.
Yeah.
Tony, I enjoy the press conference Tony Storm even more than the in ring Tony Storm right now.
I think, yeah, it's pretty much everything. Which, like, here's the deal. Like, Tony's proved at least enough in the ring to, like, we know she can do things. Like, it's great.
Yeah,
And, like, the other part that we weren't sure about her was this whole character arc, and just everything about it is fantastic. And eventually, whenever they turn Mariah, like, to the moon. Like,
yeah. Mariah's gonna be a super baby face. She's taking that belt
yes.
off her.
Yeah.
No, and deservedly so. Mariah was a great signing. Mariah May can go.
Yeah.
Like they haven't really like shown that aspect of it yet.
Right.
She can go. So when
Yeah.
she'll fit in
And I
just
think
fine.
that will be when the gloves get taken off of Timeless Tony, and it won't be so gimmicky in ring. Like, I think that's when
Yeah.
you're gonna start seeing, like, then it's gonna be full on character work, right? Because she's just gonna be an emotional mess fighting Mariah. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. No, I love where that's going. Um, I think they're doing things well. So I can't complain. Talked about those couple of things. WWE side of things. We just
Mhm.
had a draft over there.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need a draft anymore.
No, we don't. Because here's the deal, and what I find so funny of, like, people doing, like, mock drafts of this stuff. They don't.
Who mock drafts the WWE?
Every internet content creator. Here's the
Ugh.
deal. Like, when you're talking about the draft, let's take the NFL draft, right?
Yeah, I mock that.
Why do
Yes.
why do people love NFL drafts and fantasy drafts, right? Because you compete with them, right? Like, you draft players so that you can compete against the other NFL teams. You're trying to give yourself a competitive advantage over the other teams. Raw and SmackDown are the same team, right? It's just like, am I going to see this person on Mondays or am I going to see them on Fridays? And even then, it doesn't matter because they all cross pollinate
Crossover.
anyways. They need to rebrand it to just the NXT call up show. That's all it needs to be, because that was the only real takeaways from the draft was who from NXT is being put on
Where?
the Monday and Friday rosters, right? So I think they need to rebrand it into like the NXT call up show. And because those were kind of like the best moments of set. And I'm not even saying it necessarily needs to be a show. They can come up with some kind of different way to present it. But the idea of it needs to be like, it's NXT call up time. And it's like, hey, we're going to, all right, now Braun is going to be on Raw. Okay. And now, Lyra is going to be on Raw and all this stuff. Like, who's getting the call ups for all that stuff?
Yeah.
And Carmelo, and like, because always when you're talking about NXT and whatever perspective it comes from, it's always about, man, well, when these guys and girls get up to the main roster, what's it
What
going
are
to
they
look
going
like?
to do? Yep.
It's something we talk about all the time. That's the most important part of the draft thing. When like Shinsuke Nakamura, we love Shinsuke, but I'm sorry, I'm gonna
Of
have to use it
course.
here. When Nakamura goes from Raw to SmackDown, I don't give a shit. That doesn't okay. Like, and also none of your champions move because it again doesn't matter. They cross pollinate anyways. I know there's kind of a rough like Cody's technically the SmackDown champion, but also like they remove that signage from the belts because that used to be on the belts too,
Yeah.
right? There used to be Raw tag team champions and SmackDown tag team champions, Raw women's champions, SmackDown women's, and now those don't exist. So yes, the draft is a I get I think like the original concept of the draft was just simply to get sports people who love the draft to
Yeah.
come over and go like, oh, it's a draft. I understand this concept. Yay. Um, I think that's now like such an overused thing in our everyday lives. And if anyone is a sports fan, they know what a draft is. You don't need to call it the draft. So yeah, no, the draft is stupid.
I think where it's placed, and I think many people feel like you, I think it's time to revamp it, but not time to get rid of it. I
Okay.
think they're in the perfect position now where you can make it feel hyper competitive. They
Okay.
have two really good GMs. I think in the position where it is now, like in the calendar, I think you can have real fun if you do the draft around this time or June every single year. I would start off and I'd say, this is our main champion. This is our main champion. Now, they are going to wrestle each other on the first night of the draft. The winner of that has the first pick.
Okay.
And you have your champion and the GM, and you say, and I wouldn't just put one pick. I say they get to pick the first five. Now the other brand has to pick the next five. And then you go and they pick, all right, you pick your five people, you pick your five people. All right. Now, say that's the first hour of Raw. Now, a different stipulation from the second hour. Okay. Now, the next one, the winner of this, say GM, your guy picked five, your guy picked five. Give me your best woman versus this best woman. They got to go at it right now. Out of your picks. So if you picked a woman, out of your picks, they got to go at it right now. The winner gets four people on both sides in the Money in the Bank match. The loser gets two. Oh, shit. All right. So this brand heightens your chances to get in Mr. Money in the Bank. Okay. Let's do that. Now, you do that, set. Let's pick five more people. You snake. So they go first, we'll go second. All right. Third hour. Now, give me your best tag team. Give me your best tag team. All right. The winner of this gets, and you have a tag team match. Winner of this, you guys get the King of the Ring and Queen of the Ring tournament. The other brand doesn't even get it. Okay. Shit. So King of the Ring is only SmackDown this year.
Right.
And then people on Raw are pissed. Like, fuck, I want to be King of the Ring. You lost. Now that tag team's like, well, I don't know what the fuck to tell you. And then pick five more. Then you go to SmackDown and you put stipulations on each part so it matters. And then you're drafting strategically. Because now you're like, fuck, I want to be King of the Ring. I got to draft a really good tag team because I know it's up to them. Or Money in the Bank, you're looking like, I kind of want to be Mr. Money in the, or you know what? I don't want Money in the Bank. So I'm going to throw in Ricochet. Like you're throwing in fucking Bronson Reed. Here's Ricochet. Like I kind of want to tank this. And then Ricochet is like, the fuck? You pick me to lose. And he wins. And he'd be like, I hope they cash in on yo punk ass for throwing me in there. Like there's a bunch of like strategic things you can do if everything has a stipulation. And then SmackDown. It's easy. Yo, okay. First one, the winner of this main event's SummerSlam this year. And now your champions are just like, I want to main event SummerSlam. The other champion, Damian Priest, I want to main event SummerSlam too. Damian's like, I'm gonna throw in Finn. Or cool, that's my boy. Or what if Damian throws in Gunther?
Right.
And Finn is like, you don't believe in me? He's like, I'm sorry, my man. I want a main event. He's like, I'm in your group. I need the best chance. And then you have Cody has to throw in, someone from his side. And does he have to lean on like, fuck, I hate them, but I gotta throw in Solo Sikoa? Like, I really want to win. Like, I fucking hate these guys.
And then you get the weird matchups too, people who wouldn't necessarily cross
Wouldn't,
paths.
and it's just like, but I'm champion. I want a main event SummerSlam. So it gives like this dynamic of strategy where you have the draft, who you draft, when you draft them, and then who you put into these matches to gain an advantage throughout the summer.
You know what this sounds like, right? You know what it honestly should be is it should be our revamped version of Survivor Series.
Yeah. In a long form match. Like in a
Right.
long form like version
But
of it.
why not just like take the draft, right? And then they try to do it also kind of sounds like the days of bragging rights, right? You kind of take those concepts and you wrap it into Survivor Series, right? Where like Survivor Series, like they put war games into Survivor Series, which
Yeah.
like
Which is
okay,
cool.
but it's which is fine, and you could still have it be Survivor Series war games, but like the war games is always like a match, right? So it's just like you have two war games matches that are storyline based, and then the rest of Survivor Series is the draft or quote
Yeah.
unquote the draft,
It's
right?
just tough because
Which
you can't give people like main events because Rumble's going to do that, Elimination Chamber is going to do that. It shrinks you at a point
right,
in time where there's so many
yeah,
stipulations. Where now there's no stipulation for SummerSlam.
yeah, and
Where
it
it's
comes
just like fuck it.
again. It comes to like the whole. It comes back to the whole core issue of the draft, right? Which is
Yeah,
like it's supposed to be based off of like this competitiveness between brands when like that's just never really worked and
yeah.
doesn't real like the current environment doesn't constitute that
You
either.
have to make it make sense, and it
Mhm.
has to be. And the GM aspect is cool, but to me, it's letting it revolve around the two main champions, since they won't change brands, is the smartest way. Because like Damian Priest, theoretically, it's like, yo, Priest, you win this first match against Cody. And they're like, we have 5 picks. Are you gonna pick Judgment Day sitting there like 1, 2, 3, 4? We're set.
And yeah, it shouldn't be
And
GM
then
based, right? It should be
yeah.
like champ. It should be
And
champion
then
based.
you're building stories. Cause then if he's like, I'll take Finn, I'll take JD, Dom, you gotta wait for the second round.
I'm taking
What?
Gunther. Sorry.
Yeah, Gunther. And he's like, what if they pick me? You're like, we have 5, and he takes Rhea, and then he just doesn't take Dom.
Right.
Dom's like, what the fuck? And then everyone's wondering, like, oh my God, is Cody and SmackDown gonna take Dom? And then Cody would be like, hmm. Or last year with the bloodline with Jay, it's like, I have the power to separate them. Like,
Yeah.
I can do things strategically with this power to make it so there's a competitive balance, whether I want the best, and everyone can have a different objective. Like Cody can say, I want the best wrestlers on SmackDown. And that's his
Yeah.
mindset going into the draft. And Damian Priest can say, I want the least competition. I want to keep this damn belt. Like, oh, Jey Uso, you think you challenging me? You're going to get this shot at Backlash, but I'm sending your ass to SmackDown because you're going
Right.
to have to deal with your cousins, your brothers, everyone. You can't run away from that problem. And you're getting the hell out of my hair. Jay's like, fuck me. All right, I'm back over there. So, like, now there's a dynamic of competitive reasoning of everyone else has their reasons for it. Or it could be like
if there are you're inserting stakes for the wrestlers,
everyone. And it's
which right
just
now
like,
there aren't stakes for them.
yep. And it's just like
Which
CM Punk. I'm gonna take Drew too. Because you
right.
know what? You're not coming after my belt if I'm Damian Priest. You two are gonna fight each other.
Also, like, what if like you get them in a match where like they have to work together, right?
Yep.
Where it's like, okay, CM Punk and Drew have to tag against someone, and it's like,
Yep.
well, we don't want to do this, right? It's like it's kind of like a silly, hokey way to get some matchups that you wouldn't necessarily get.
and tie
and
it into storylines. And there's
could serve as
legit
a tie
stakes.
into
And
storylines.
you
Yeah,
can't use people twice in my theory, by the way. So if
yes.
you use Gunther to get you fucking King of the Ring, then no, you cannot use him to also lock in Money in the Bank advantage. You cannot use him to headline Smack or SummerSlam.
I think to me, like, still the whole concept, just in and of itself, is silly. But this kind of revamp that you're kind of talking about is definitely something they need to do to put some, if they're going to keep doing this, and put some energy
You
behind
have
it.
to. And it builds other shit. You could be like, yo,
Yeah,
I saved him for the last pick. Or you can literally have the other guy saying, I'm not picking CM Punk.
yeah,
Like, I'm not doing it. And then Cody's just like, I don't want that threat on my brand either.
yeah.
And you just have him and he just feels wildly disrespected for being the last pick in the draft. And it's just like, fuck. Like Drew McIntyre would completely refuse to pick CM Punk.
Right.
Refuse, refuse, refuse. And then the other team will have the advantage and you book it out. So Drew is stuck with Punk. And Punk's just like, you didn't want me, but here I am. And it's just like, fuck, I
I
can't get away
mean,
from this guy.
now, like, I don't want to put a negative connotation on this, but would it be interesting to have stakes of like someone has to go back to NXT,
I don't mind that.
right?
I don't mind
Like
like
I could see Drew McIntyre being like, "Hey CM Punk, I'm gonna stick you back down in NXT," or like some, like come up with some match to like have that be like a threat of some sort.
yeah,
I wouldn't want
like
that to like bury NXT, but like you get my point.
yeah, no, it wouldn't be a call up. It'd be these three NXT talents are coming up. So we have Braun Breaker,
Oh
we
God,
have, Ilya, Dragunov, all this stuff. Okay, they're going to one brand. All three of them are going to one brand. We're gonna have a match, and the loser of that match loses three people from their brand, and these three threats are going to take their spot. Legit threat. And it's just like, fuck. But then you get the final testament off of wherever the fuck they are, and you'd be like, all right, these three NXT people are going up. Final testament's going to NXT. It's a trade. And it's like, all right, but it makes sense. That's how you get a Corbin going back down. That's how you get people where you have to reset, because you'll just be like, all right, these three are going to take these people's spots. And then those people could be pissed and be like, I'm going down there, but I'm a wreck shop. And when I'm done, coming for your ass, Cody. Like, how dare you send us down there? Or Damien, like, and now they have future beef with them when they get revamped.
yeah.
So there's reasoning.
All goes into the standing of NXT too, right? Because it's like you don't want, again, like you don't want to like totally make it seem like NXT is a burial, because you're right. Like going to NXT or going back down to NXT has benefited so many wrestlers. It's
Dijak,
Dijak,
Corbin.
Mandy Rose. Like it did a lot of good for those wrestlers going back down. So, or I guess in terms going to, I'm gonna just say going to NXT,
Yeah.
right? Like so, and especially because it also helps the rest of the NXT talent too, because a lot of that talent is just people working in the PC. So
Green.
now you get to see those people get to work with more established people. Also, plus, if I was a WWE performer and I was told like you got to go do stuff in NXT for the next 6 months, not necessarily the worst thing in the world. You're not traveling around everywhere. You're hanging out in Orlando,
Yeah.
right? Like you're going to the PC and that's it. Other than for like pay-per-views, that's not so bad that for being on the road for every friggin' week. So, although I know that they're trying to take NXT more on the road, but my point being, like, you
The
still have
schedule is
like a
not the
central,
same. Yeah.
you have a central location. That like, I don't know. I wouldn't hate that necessarily for a little bit, especially like if it's in an effort to like let me try something new.
Listen, Finn went back down.
Yeah.
Finn, who's like one of the greatest champions ever and got a full revamp with Gargano and everyone else, like played a major storyline down there, became the Prince again, and then came back up in Judgment Day. And he's been riding that shit for like 5 years now, off of a mini revamp and a breath of fresh air. So it's one of those things where I would love to see, just let them have stakes. Let each
Yeah.
hour and each round of draft picks then determine how you can set up
Kind of
strategically
sounds like
the
it
next round.
sounds like Cyber Tuesday or whatever it was that they had, whatever event
Oh, it
that
was
they had.
controlled by like a computer or something. Right? I
Yeah,
had stopped
it
watching
sounds
at that time. Yeah.
it
but
sounds a little bit like that,
yeah,
where it's
yeah, it
like, hey,
sounds
get to vote.
yeah. And it's just like yes, please. Like, let's have
Yeah.
this strategic. Because now my first 5 picks, it comes down to like, why is Becky Lynch being drafted over, I don't know, Randy Orton, right?
Right.
Like what's the logic between Bianca Belair going one?
And
Why?
like CM Punk was a round 2, day 2 pick,
Yeah. It's like
right?
what is the
Like,
logic? Well, now
yeah,
we can put logic
sure.
because I don't know what the stakes are going to be for this first match in hour two. Because I know the first match is me versus the other champion, and we're fighting for this. So sorry, Damian Priest, you're gonna have to lose, and Cody will win the advantage. But I don't know what the stakes are for night two or for
Yeah,
hour two. So
right.
I have to take a woman in case it's a singles women's match. I have to take a tag team in case the tag team's up next, and then I have to probably take two more like power players as guys, because in case there's a singles match or whatever, or like you said, I could just shake shit up and make that my tag team.
Honestly, you know what it is, and what they can tie it into is it's like a daily fantasy competition. Is that's what this is like? This is like a DraftKings, like
Oh,
pick
they
your
could get
line,
a sponsor.
pick your lineup, right? Well,
Yeah.
I guess not DraftKings because they do AEW, but like you get my point. Like give like
Yeah. Yeah.
FanDuel, like yeah, FanDuel draft night, right?
Yeah.
Where and it's basically you're drafting your teams for that night so that you set yourself up for the rest of until the
Yeah.
next one
The
the next
season.
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly,
And it
exactly.
all has something. You're having individual games built in
Right,
that matter for things.
right.
So it's like, all right, my brand needs this.
Now the second you did that, then I'm like thinking it sounds like fucking real world road rules
Road Rules
challenge, and I
Challenge.
just got really excited. I was like,
That's
yes,
people fucking love the challenge.
Johnny
Like,
Bananas, where is he?
yes, yes.
Can I draft Johnny Bananas?
I'm drafting the Miz, number one overall.
I'm drafting the Miz.
The Miz has been here before. I'm taking the Miz and Coral. She's not even on the roster. But yeah, no, like it's one of those things where if you put those stakes on each hour
Yeah.
and round, one, people have to watch the top of every hour because you're just like, what is
I
this
like
fucking
this
thing?
idea better. It's still like just the whole kind of concept of it to me still is like super
Weird.
hokey, right?
But
And
if you're
weird.
going to do it,
But if you're gonna do it, I like your idea of just like full on go all out for it
yeah,
and have it be a one night, one or two or
a
one
two
or
night,
two night
yeah.
event, a one
But
night event.
it's 5 matches, right? Because
Yeah.
you have 5 total hours to cover. So
And it also
it's
gives you a chance to
five
like
matches with
you're gonna
stakes.
see matchups you don't normally see. Which is also a good idea to like kind of roll the dice and heat check shit.
That's it. Like if you choose, like you said, if for any reason CM Punk was healthy, and you chose CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, and then your tag team was the champs because you like your belts or whatever. So you
Right.
choose the tag team champs, which is Truth and Miz.
Sure.
And then you choose Becky Lynch because you'd be like, all right, cool. Those are my champions. Like, and I have two really good players in here. Sorry, Gunther. You got to wait. I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Like, this is the 5 I'm choosing. And then they're like, okay, second round for the opening of the second hour, your tag team is going to determine who has the money in the bank advantage this year. He'd be like, well, I could throw in Miz and R-Truth because they're the champions. They're not my best tag team option.
Right.
So I'm going to use Punk and Drew McIntyre. And they're like, and you guys have to coexist because the winner will probably open up another slot in Money in the Bank, which you
Can they
need,
coexist?
which you need to get back to the title. So you
Right.
can't even tank against each other. You guys got to coexist because this is your shot back to the title.
Right.
And you got to go against the tag team champions from the other side because the other side will probably pick
And
their
have it
champions.
and yeah, and have it be stakes that like just matter enough.
Yeah.
Right.
Like Money
Where
in the
it's
Bank
like
to them is like, that's how I get back to the title.
money in the bank. It's like, yeah, the money in the bank stakes is it's normally a 6-person match. Instead of 3 and 3, it's 4 and 2.
4 and 2.
Right.
Yep.
King of the Ring, you get more entrants.
Yep.
Or King and Queen of the Ring, you get more entrants.
SummerSlam is a main event.
War games in Survivor Series, your team gets to go first, right?
Yep.
Like
Just put
you get first
low
draw.
stakes on everything.
Just little tiny stakes here and there that like, and that way all year you're always like pointing back to it.
Yep.
And that way you get people to go even like a Royal Rumble thing, right? Where it's like you guarantee that your roster is going to
You're gonna have the last pick.
have people in the final 5 spots.
Yeah.
Something like that, right? Just small little stakes that you can always point at. And that way, throughout the year, you can always be like, well, this happened because of this draft.
Yeah.
Or like this FanDuel night, right? That we just had. And that way, when it comes back around that year, it becomes a nice table setter event after WrestleMania.
Yep.
So
And
like
you think if someone's the champion, be like, yo, your brand gets the last 3 spots in the Royal Rumble. That's it. Your brand gets the last 3 spots. And
that doesn't even have to mean anything for whoever, because again, you can choose whichever belt you want. It's just the fact that you are on the brand that you want to be on for the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
That's all. Like again,
so
it's not end of world stakes.
No, and there's ways to do it, right? And again, you have a lot of the stakes benefit the champions.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 guys who are above the company. And then if you want to shake this shit up next year and be like, we're not starting with the men. Our 2 champions are going to start women's champ. And now y'all build that all the way through. And, you're building this. I mean, Bayley and Becky would be great this year for that.
Right.
And it's like, yo, we're starting with the 2 women's champions. And they're like, oh, they have a lot of history. And what if Becky chooses like Charlotte Flair? And then it's like, oh, horsewomen over here. And then, Damage Control is like still over there. And somehow Bayley gets stuck with Damage.
It's a great way to like protect all your champions too, because none of them have to fight in this event. None of them have to be in matches. They just help.
Just the first 2
stakes.
just the first 2.
Yeah.
But again, who cares if your champ loses to the other champ like right away? Like,
but even then, you could just throw all the champs in like a tag match, give it a mixed tag match, and just call it a day, right?
Easy. So yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Fuck it. Men and women, like you can have shenanigans, you can have whatever, doesn't matter.
Would have been great if Rhea was still healthy, because then Rhea could just kick the shit out of everybody.
Yeah, and it's just like, what's the harm in it? And if someone does, cost you, then it's like, all right, now I got beef. Cody moving over to SmackDown, it's like, all right, why does AJ hate you? But if you're doing this and this is the first 5 picks for our brand, and AJ screws you over, then it's just like, you didn't just screw me over. You screwed SmackDown over for a year.
You idiot.
Yeah. What an asshole. Like, you just cost us a ton. So there's like different plot
points.
Was
in this competition, he would screw over his own brand. And just
everyone.
Like, I preyed on this brand's
everyone. He's just a hater all the way through.
I preyed on this brand's downfall. This is the greatest day of my life.
We have, to wrap this up, just going through the card, Backlash in Paris this weekend. Randy Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline, Solo and Tama Tonga.
Yep.
I'm torn.
You are?
Yes.
Okay.
We are going to get the debut of another Bloodline member.
Yes, we are.
Samoan Wolf is coming.
Let me ask you, Coale, have you watched a Bloodline match before?
Yes.
Like just any?
Yes, there's no clean finishes.
So you know what's going to happen.
yes, there's no.
You
but
know how this is going to end.
The internet's messed up my mind.
Sure. Yes. Who hasn't done that too?
Originally, I was going to say, we get the debut here, and Randy Orton, Kevin Owens keeps getting the shit kicked out of him. And the Bloodline stands tall with Solo and Tama. But I feel like Tama Tonga could low-key lose, and Randy Orton can RKO him and continue like that thing. So I'm going to go Randy Orton and Kevin win. And I'm saving my Bloodline debut till later.
I guess I see you're trying to pick some. I like your line of thinking. You're trying to go a little outside the box. I don't think we're going outside the box for this one though. I think it could be a case where Randy like gets an RKO on one of them, and it's like he's gonna win, and then we have Bloodline interference. So I'll take the Bloodline in that one.
I'm not mad at that. So
I like your thinking now, because that's the way I love to book shit. You know,
I'm gonna go to the next match just because they're running. I'm gonna run them back to back. Damian Priest versus Jey Uso. Heavyweight world championship. Damian Priest not losing yet.
No.
The Judgment Day could interfere to help him win,
Probably.
but I think there's beef there, a brewing.
Sure.
I'd say no.
Well, and there's a lot of like there's Dom ship that's happening right now.
Yeah,
Because again, like the whole reason Dom was in Judgment Day was well, first it was because they were beefing with Rey Mysterio, but like, why is he hung around this whole time? It's not like not because of Finn and Damien, right? Like
yeah.
Rhea's missing, so yeah, like I could see Finn coming out here and doing some shenanigans, but I don't think there's any way that they're taking. Which is the crowd's gonna want Jay to win, but I don't think Jay's gonna win.
Jay's gonna lose, and we're gonna see the debut
Okay,
of Jacob Fatu,
okay. So you have Jacob Fatu coming out here. That's fair.
and he's attacking Jey Uso, and the Bloodline is gonna beat the hell out of Jey Uso, cost him the belt. And guess who's gonna need each other?
You have Roman coming out here?
No, not yet.
Okay.
But because of this beatdown,
Oh, Jimmy.
Jimmy and Jay are going to need each other again.
Oh, wow. Well, then you have. Ooh,
Now
you
we're
have
starting the
Jay-
Civil War.
Now you have Jay, Jimmy versus what? Tamatonga,
Tamatanga and Jacob
Jacob.
probably. Yeah.
And then you would need Roman to come back.
That's probably a SummerSlam thing. They
Be a
gotta take
SummerSlam
they gotta
thing.
take an ass whooping for a while, and then Roman has to come
Is
back.
that the okay? So like, here's really the question that we all have on our minds. Clearly, we should all have at the front of our minds. When do we get Rikishi as guest referee? Where does Rikishi come in
It
and
could
do
be
it?
SummerSlam. Could be SummerSlam. I
When
think
does he come
Roman
do it
comes
so
back
far?
for SummerSlam, and somewhere around there,
Yeah.
we're getting the reveal that all of that was set up by
'Cause
the
it sure
final
seems like
boss.
oh yeah, because it doesn't well, and it doesn't seem like we're gonna have Rock versus Bloodline people yet. I don't
No.
know because Rock has kind of set himself up to fight Cody.
Yeah. So Rock Cody, if it happens at SummerSlam, good. If it happens at Mania, fine. But I think we get the first tease of Solo didn't turn on everyone without commands. Solo's great. He's not a mastermind. Right now, he's playing the mastermind. He's been answering to someone all along. Rock got to Solo before he left. Solo's been doing the bidding for the final boss. That's why. And then you build Roman and Rock
Yeah.
through that. And Rock infiltrated so he could be the tribal chief and not Solo. And it's like,
Tell you
oh,
what, all for Cody having this championship run, man. But man, am I seeing a pathway for Roman to get that belt back? Man, am I seeing
babyface Roman.
Man, am I seeing babyface and the dreams of one incredibly tarnished human being finally come true when he gets us to all cheer for a babyface Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I see it cooking. I see the
it.
wings turning.
Wait, you
So,
see it cooking and the Rock's involved?
hey, pun intended.
Just like Rikishi.
Did it for the Rock.
For the Rock.
The Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca and Jade.
Oh, poor Kabuki Warriors. I don't think there's any way they're winning this.
It sucks because they just lost the main title, and then now you're telling me they're gonna lose this.
This is what I was worried about for Damage Control, man.
Yeah, it'll be the end of Damage Control because then you got to rebuild them all the way up.
They're just all like, there's nothing for them. Bailey was kind of the thing holding it together.
It was a Bailey storyline.
It was a Bailey storyline.
Yeah, but how do they lose? Like, Jade's not getting pinned.
Right, Jade's got to come in like get a hot
Bianca
tag.
can get pinned.
Sure.
Off of like interference.
The spit.
Yeah, like missed. There's a lot of shenanigans on this card. I'm not sure anyone's losing clean.
No.
But nah, fuck it. I think you got to pull the trigger. Bianca and Jade, and I don't know how you ever get the belts off them. They're just gonna turn to each other and cost each other. But it's long down the road. They may hold these belts for 8 months. because WWE loves doing that shit now. You hold the belts forever. They may hold these belts right.
I mean, it's like who's beaten who we once again raised this question in WWE as we did AEW. Who beats Jade?
Not
Not
her
anyone
and
anytime soon.
Bianca.
Not anyone anytime soon.
No, so that's tough. And then Damian, no. Then we have Bailey versus Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. Bailey will win. She'll pin Naomi.
This might be the most interesting match of the night.
Yeah, it's real quick to hot potato belt on to Tiffany Stratton.
And I don't think it's
But
time yet either.
I wouldn't be mad.
We've
But no,
all
don't think it's
I think we've pegged this earlier. Like we need the rhinestone briefcase.
yeah, this is heat check.
We need the we need the sparkling Barbie briefcase.
Yep. I think you're
for
still
Tiff.
on the right path.
Yeah, I
But
think
she
Tiffany's
looks great.
got to get Money in the Bank.
Yeah, she looks great in this match, and I think that's what we end
Especially
up
because
getting.
you can have a woman Money in the Bank winner hold it for a long time because
Yeah.
she would be obnoxious with that thing.
Oh, 100%.
Perfect, like perfectly in character, obnoxious, and just like hold on to it for 8 months. Just
I
like how
agree.
we literally just had this done with Senor Money in the Bank, and he had the purple briefcase, and that ended up working out okay. So like this will be
Yeah.
way better than that.
Oh, 100%.
And it's just like a different color. She decorates it a different way. It
All
always
the
matches
time,
her
right?
outfit.
Yeah. Fantasy
Right.
booking on the last time me and Cole were together. If you guys haven't listened to that one,
We're building off of that. That was too good. So yeah, I think Bailey
got to
wins.
keep that going. And then Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles. This one will have a clean finish. Cody will win. There's a lot of factions. I'm gonna go full AEW, full New Japan. Let's bring one back, Cole. Good Brother's got to come home.
Okay.
Cody wins. AJ and Good Brothers beat the hell out of him. Easy.
I wonder when. Do you think at some point Cody's gonna turn while he has this belt?
No, not this soon. No, probably not this run.
Probably not this run.
No. Like it, Cody wants to be, or at least prove that he can be the John Cena-esque babyface, making money, selling out shows. Said as much on Cheap Heat this week. Shout out to Stat Guy Greg, everyone over there. Rosenberg. That joint show is phenomenal. If you guys haven't checked that out either. Shameless plug. But no, it's one of those things where he's gonna get the babyface run he wants.
Yeah.
It's up to them to give him legit heel challengers to keep him hot. But if he goes on a babyface run of AJ Styles for 2 months, Randy Orton for another 2 or 3 months, because there's a lot of meat on that bone, and then possibly a Gunther, or you're getting into shit. I don't even know who just went to SmackDown, but there's options.
And eventually, like you have to get him to The Rock.
Yeah, and then The Rock
And
will come
the
back.
Rock's not gonna be a good guy in that.
No, so Randy turning will happen before Cody turns, and we get, oh, we're friends. I owe you one, blah blah, and then Cody wins and handshake, RKO, evil as fuck. Randy Orton is back, punt kicks Cody. Cody bleeds off of a punt kick, and then that's how you close a pay-per-view, and
The
you
Legend
run them.
Killer is back.
Oh, you run them through it, and yeah, just have him talk real greasy about his daddy.
Oh, you
Just
kidding?
real bad.
He's gonna go live from wherever they have Dusty resting.
Yeah, real
He'll be
bad.
like, I'm here. I'm the Legend Killer, and I've done it.
So yeah, and I think between those three matchups, Cody's set for a second on this championship run, and then after that you get to Mania and you figure it out.
After that, he gives a belt to Rock, and Rock gives the belt to Roman. We're done.
I think Cody will give it to Gunther before anything.
Nope, it's going to the Rock. It's going back to Roman.
And then on the other side of things,
I've already have it made up in my mind.
other side of things, we're getting. Oh, and that's also because I picked Gunther as Mr. Money in the Bank. So that is how he gets it from Cody eventually after he's menacing.
From Cody, now he's not going to get the other one.
No, he's going. He's going for the big boy. No, the other one is the path is clear. The path is spelled out on the other one. going Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre in Scotland. Punk gets healthy. That's going to be a feud. Punk's going to come out on top with that belt. And then
Sure.
Punk will main event Mania off of that. And whether it's him and Seth, where you're like, yo, it's supposed to happen last year. Seth is
Or
coming
him and
back.
Drew. Yep.
Him and Drew probably would have just finished, but you can give him, Lord knows who builds himself between now and then. You can have him, Kevin Owens, him, Sami Zayn. There's people at the top of that card where a CM Punk match at Mania a hit. So
CM Punk, the only thing that has to happen is CM Punk has to get there healthy.
that's it.
Availability, as you've said, is a skill.
Yes. And
Currently, right now, he does not have that skill.
he's an older gentleman. But you would think you can only get so many surgeries.
Just no more buckshot lariats.
Yeah, before they fix everything. So, he's working with a whole new set of tools.
No more jumping into the crowd. No more buckshot lariats.
Man can't help himself. So we'll see how all that plays out. We'll see how this pay-per-view does. We'll see if we get Jacob Fatu to debut. That'd be really dope. WWE's humming along. AEW's just 3 weeks away from being in Vegas. 4 weeks. So that's going to be really fun. I might have to kidnap producer Coale and bring him out here. As you can see, I don't care. You sleep on that pool table.
I mean, let me tell you, that's true. And that's one way to avoid the cost of AEW weekend doing Memorial Day weekend in Vegas, because that shit is expensive.
Coale, come out. I got plenty of room. There's a pool table. I mean, there's a very nice futon over here too, in case you wanted it. But the idea of people seeing you sleep on a pool table is a lot funny.
Just look, I'm gonna be wary if a table is around.
Any type of table. Any type of table. You're always
seeing as I've gone over and through.
Yeah.
I have reason to be cautious.
This is the equivalent of a New Japan table. So I don't even know.
That's like
I don't think this is breaking.
Tables like together.
So no, man, I can't wait. That's going to be a fun weekend. Appreciate everyone for listening as always. Everyone followed on Patreon.
Also, just circle right back to the top of the show and go listen to Broken Matt Hardy versus Joe Hendry, because that was the crux. That was the main part of the show that we wanted to get out there. So
yeah, came in hot today. Came in hot. So for myself, for producer Coale, Bay, we appreciate you. Till next time, we're out.
London, Texas, and Tokyo.